Despite being played by few in Kenya, as well as being watched by few fans, the sport is generating more interest from upcoming players across the country. And with the limited facilities, support from the sponsors and the Ministry of Sports, it's just a matter of time for the game to attract aspiring sportsmen and women. The rules and regulations of the game are simple. Two players must play against each other on the court. As a squash player, you should not hit the ball above the third or below the first red line. If so, you lose the point to the opponent. Obstruction amounts to penalties, and the ball should bounce only once. If not observed, you risk dropping points.
A player needs only a racket, squash shoes, and sports attire. The coaches are always available.
It's interesting because it's very fast-paced. It requires you to think before you play. It's not just, you can't just play haphazardly.
National squash head coach Prince Mkuka, who also dubs as a junior and senior coach, believes more infrastructure development across the country will help in identifying more talents and create interest in the game.
Actually, before I came into this country, most of the time they used to finish last, but the standard of squash in this country has really improved since I came in. And the last time we played in World Men's Team, senior in Denmark, they finished 15 out of 46 countries. And the juniors, we played all Africa in South Africa. We came third out of 8 African tournaments.
The juniors, there's a larger number of juniors these days, so the sport is getting more competitive. However, in my age category, there aren't as many as we should have.
It's a very good way to keep the kids busy and keep them out of trouble to get into sports. We bring them here at Parkland Sports Club to play twice a week, and they've been training with the coaches here. So thank you very much for the coaches, and I'm glad that my kids are into sports, and I'm glad they're playing well. And again, he's done very well in this tournament.
Playing the game of squash is something so important. At least, as a player, you need to have that physical fitness and endurance in order for you to overcome the opponent.
The most important thing is to understand the game itself. You need to get the proper technique first. Fitness comes later. For as long as you have the proper technique, even learning becomes easier. But it's also aerobics and anaerobic. It's a very good sport. You can either play whether it's raining, not, in the evening, whichever time you want. And it's a 45-minute sport.
So obviously you have to have fitness. So jogging or running or swimming could help. Also you have to have control, power and balance to play the right shot at the right time.
Yeah, it's doing well because there's a large number of juniors turning up these days. Sponsors are also helping, yeah.
The Kenya Squash Racket Association now has the mandate and is now focused in improving the standards of professionalism. And while few junior players have shown their ability on the continent with spectacular performances in junior tournaments in South Africa and Namibia, more is at stake with supplementary exposure games and coaching techniques.
Sponsorship being one of the primary factors in development of squash. We need to encourage more and more players to come up. We need to encourage the kids at school level and at grassroots level. A lot of the schools that I know have the facilities, but we need to encourage it, and we need to encourage it at a lower level. And again, I'd like to thank somebody like Prince, who's taken his initiative to coach all the kids and come up with these tournaments, which brings a lot of the kids together. So yeah, I think the game needs to be developed at a grassroots level.
Well, we are getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. From the way I looked at things when we went to South Africa, Kenya squash is really improving, especially among the juniors.
I want to achieve to be a good player and and train harder too.
Facilities in Kenya are very good. They're available all over. And I think for juniors, it's a very good sport because it gives you a complete exercise in a very short time. So it's very healthy.
It's not a spectator sport. It can't accommodate more than 3,000 people, but they are trying to make it bigger. They've made the Perspex sport. It's made of a grass court. Put it in the stadium, but it's an expensive court to do that.
The standards in Kenya are improving, but the standards out there are much higher, and it shows what we need to get to.
There's one African boy called Ken Mwangi. He has only played it for about 2 years. When we went to South Africa, he was able to beat all the Zambian boys. He managed to beat the South African #1. In the team event, we came third, and individual, he went all the way to the semi-finals, and he was the only one who managed to get a game of world #1 from Egypt.
Sponsorship is key in the development of squash in the country, and despite the struggles, it's just a matter of time before Kenya achieves its goals. Mpaka Collins, GBS News.